Hello. In this tutorial, we're building image gallery in React and Firebase as a backend. So we're using two Firebase products, storage and the Firestore, and these images here on the screen are getting loaded from the Firestore, and then we have also a functionality to choose an image and also like upload it. And once we hit save, it should get stored in our collection. And finally, we also deploy the images to our hosting. To share it with the link, we'll deploy it using a hosting service, Hostinger. I've been using their services for a while now, and I find them very easy to use. If you're setting up for the first time, only takes a few minutes to get set up and have your project deployed. They have an intuitive control panel, which I'll show later in the tutorial, that is suitable for beginners as well as for professionals. And it comes with different plans. For this tutorial, we're going to select this plan, and good thing it has a free domain. So let's add that to the cart. Also here, I'll mention that Hostinger is a sponsor of this video. So if you use my code WebDecoded, you're going to get additional 10% off. So while selecting your preferred payment and the duration of the plan, you can add coupon code here, and let's enter that in, apply and submit the payment. And afterwards you'll be prompted to claim your free domain like you see on the screen. So we click in here and then we check what kind of domains are available. So I will try XYZ and let's do React tutorials, and it is available, claim domain. And once that goes through, you'll be able to see your domains under the domains tab. Now we'll get started with some coding and can finish the deployment later. Navigate to the folder where you want your app created and run npm create vita at latest. That would be the latest version. Then the name of the app, gallery app. Then we say pick template as React and click enter. It asks us to select a framework. We scroll down to third option, that is React. So select that, and then JavaScript. So now we created the folder. Let's cd into it. So cd gallery app. Then we have to npm install all the node modules, and once the module installation is over, then we can run app by running npm run dev. This will start the app and give us the localhost address where the port where it starts. So let's copy this and open our app in the browser. So let's paste that in here, and here we have our app. Now let's set up our Firebase project. You can navigate to the Firebase for that, and in your dashboard you'd see the projects. I already created React Auth project for my other tutorial where I set up authentication using React and Firebase. So in the corner of the video you can check it out. But for this one, let's create a new project, naming this gallery app. I'm gonna disable analytics for now. Create project is gonna take a minute. It's ready, let's continue. In here, we create web version of it, and the nickname could be tutorial for me. Let's register the app, and it's gonna give us credentials that we're gonna copy and paste into our app. So yeah, this would be what we'll use. So let's first install the module. If you can navigate the ID of your choice, I'm using VS Code, and in the gallery app we can open the terminal and then paste the command to install Firebase. Also, meanwhile this is installing, let's copy this configuration and create a new file inside source, which would be firebase.js. and paste it in our API keys. Just one thing to note here, don't push your secret, because this is secret API keys, to GitHub. If it's like a public one repo, other people can look at it and use your keys. So just to be careful, you can always store them in environment variables. Now going back to Firebase dashboard, we need to add which services are we going to be using in this project. So we'll use two of them, one storage that will store the actual image files, and then another one would be Firestore that would store the references to the image files so we can load them back to our application. So first let's do the storage, get started, and let's start in test mode. Can set up the location, and this is going to create the bucket that will store all those images. Okay, here we have the bucket. Keep in mind that this is a test mode, so for rules anyone can just read and write of it. So if you're actually deploying later on, you should add some rules to it. And here we have no files. Let's also add Firestore, create database. Once again, we're gonna do the test mode and enable. Okay, now we have the Firestore as well. And let's connect these two to our React app. So we did set up Firebase project already here. But to add like the products that we want to use, we have to go to this link and pick. So one would be the Firestore and the storage. So let's start with the storage. Okay, first we need to import this at the top. And second, we can export this like this and export. Okay, now for the other one, which is Firestore. And export the database. File input component that's gonna hold our images. So file upload the JSX. This would be a functional component, and inside here would go our input. Type would be file. And we'll also just accept images, so that would be accept, and then in here we have dash image and the star. What we also need now is the onChange function that's going to hold our file. So to store the file, we are going to create a new state. So using hooks here, let's define file and then set file. And initially this would be empty. Oh. So use state and then let's define handle change function that's gonna take the file and then store it in our state. So handle change equals, and then this will take in the event. So set file, and then once we get the event from the input, the way we can target the file is event.target.file files and 0. So it usually comes in an array, so it would be like the first element in the array. So let's store this, and I'm just gonna save it so it fixes the spelling, and then on change is equals to handle change. And let's import this into our app. So what we have here, and this is export default, so file upload, and I'm gonna remove all this extra code, just leave the file upload, and this one is as well. Our input is getting displayed. Now we can go back and write the handle upload function itself. So this just handles the change. Now we need to upload it to the Firebase. So for that, let's add a button. This would say upload to Firebase, and button on click. This equals to handle upload, and we can start writing the function here. So constant handle So first thing we want to check, of course, is that if file is not empty. If it's empty, then we alert to please add the file, and interesting, this is not a okay, we can say to and then for the Firebase we need to import a few things. First we need to import the storage that we define in here. So import, that would be coming from our Firebase file, so Firebase, and then we need like few functions from the Firebase module itself that's gonna handle some of the upload logistics. So first one is going to be ref, then we have upload bytes resumable. This is going to help us track the progress, and then finally we have get download URL, which would be for like once the file is uploaded we can get the download URL, and then this would be coming from Firebase storage. Okay, so in here first we're making use of ref, which kind of like holds the reference to the storage. So let's say storage ref that equals to ref, and then in here it takes in two arguments. First is the storage that we created in the Firebase, that's connection to our Firebase. Second would be the file name. So we want to save this inside images, and then we are gonna get the file name by like from the file state itself. So let's make this template literal, and so every time we also like create slash, that would create like a folder inside our bucket. So you can have as many folders in here as you want by just adding the names. So file name, okay, so now we have the storage, and then next up we have upload like task to track the progress. So that one would be upload bytes by resumable. As I mentioned, this one takes in the storage ref and also the file. So this would basically upload the file and track at the same time. And now we want to add a listener to this task, so we get the update. So on the way this would be is state changed. Then we have a snapshot in our callback. And then to get the progress, let's create a new constant. This would taking the snapshot and then the bytes transferred, divided by snapshot total bytes, and then we just get the percentage, so multiply by 100. Now we can store this progress somewhere, so let's create a new state. So upload progress, set up progress. Initially this would be 0, and once we get the progress in here, we can say set upload progress and then whatever the progress is. Handle different scenarios, like when it's done and when it's error. So I'm gonna move this here so it's easier to read. So let's move on. First one we had snapshot, so like in progress. Next we can, just the error. So we can take in the error and console log it. And finally, when it's done, we can now make use of this get download URL and get the URL. So upload task, the way we get this is upload task.snapshot.ref, and then we wait for, and so the import, this is not like a default import, so just reminder to let's update it. I mistakenly added, so if file is empty, then we want to alert this, please add the file. Okay, so let's see how this is like. Uploading just a screenshot and upload to Firebase. So let's check our console log. So we did get the download URL. Let's go to the download URL, and here it is. Back to our Firebase, so we can store our references to the images. So collection, let's just say images. Next, automatic ID for the fields. We can just have a name and then URL, image URL. This would be of both would be type string. There's types to pick from, and save. Okay, here is the collection, and then the one example of the fields being empty. Now going back to our code, first we need to import the DB we initiated in Firebase.js, and then we need to import some of the functions we're gonna need. So that would be 2 of them, doc and then set doc. This would be from Firebase, Firestore. And once we get the upload URL back, which happens here, we can store our reference. So first we need to create image reference. So same way we already use image store ref, and this would equal to doc, and then we pass in the DB to this function. We pass in the name of the collection that we created, which is images. And finally, we can pass in the download URL. So the name of this would be, file.name, and then we can set doc. So the name of the reference and some of the fields. So image URL would be download URL, and yeah. Get the missing or insufficient permissions error. That's because in the rules you might have, if you're using production, you don't have the rules to update it. So I just updated rules. Let's see now. Upload to Firebase. Okay, and let's check if it was uploaded. Okay, so here we have our screenshot. So I manually uploaded some images to the Firestore, so now we can display them as a gallery. And I also added, if you need to get the exact same images, I added the images under assets folder in the source folder in the code base, which is going to be available on the GitHub link in the description. So these are some of the images, and since they are uploaded now, let's fetch them. So going back to our file upload.js to get, we need from Firestore another function for collection. And let's call this, let's create like a function that's gonna get the images. So constant load all images, and query snapshot equals await get docs, where we pass the DB and we also pass the name of the collection. And then this is how we just get back all the data in there, but there's other types of queries you can do, like add where condition or find an image by a name or ID. So yeah, there's like a lot of things you can do to modify. Let's just, for now, console log, let's just do doc and which one it is, and doc data. And we can call this function on useEffect when the page loads. So defining useEffect here, and let's call this one await reserved keyword. Oh, I'm missing. Inside get docs, we need to say that this is collection. The load images itself wasn't marked async, so we can't use await inside it. And let's see. We have set docs, we also need get docs. So here's the data.compacts, and we just need to take the image URL. We can store them in an array and then display them inside our return statement. So let's create an array here of, it's going to be stored in a state. So images, set images. By default, it's going to be empty. Images equals to, so creating an empty array here. After the for each statement, we can add the data here. So current images equals images, and so this is spread operator, and from doc dot data we just need. Okay, and once this is done, then we can set images to current images, and in here we can display those first. So if images exist, we can say images.map img source equals and this needs a return statement. So now we have images displayed on like large size, and let's update some of the styling. So we can wrap image into containers. So image container and we have in app.css we have some styling, so let's just do image container, set the width of image. Oh, this is CSS, not Sass. Okay, so in this case, img width would be 200 pixels. And let's add the class to the main parent. So images collection and make the display grid. We can also set how many columns we want per row. So that would be grid template columns and repeat 3, and then each one will hold 1 fraction. And let's add some gaps. That would be a grid gap, grid column gap, and let's do 0.75 rem, 1 rem. The model, let's install this package, ReactJS pop-up. It's very small library just for the pop-ups, and this is how it works and easy to use. So let's go to npm and then back to our code. This is gallery app I'm in, and in here pasted. And the way we use this is first we need to insert pop-up and the styling. So let's do that here. Then we need to have state of the pop-up, or we can pass the button, but let's do, so we want controlled pop-up where we pass when it's open or not. So let's create a state for that. And this button that we have here, this would become the part of the model. We have on close. Gonna move this out of the way and move this inside it. And we'll add another button that would be responsible for opening. Also upload an image where we have input here, and then this will just say save. So we have close model function. We also, let's create one for upload model, open model. Set open true. So button, the on click of this would be open. Here we have the state. We don't want close on document, click and save. Okay, let's see. Let's update this pop-up content padding so it just has like bigger space, but yeah, this is the class if you wanna update more of pop-up content, I believe. Padding, or we can also examine. Yep, so content. I don't see the styles coming in. We can also target, the styles are not coming in because let's try this. It's getting overridden. Okay, here it is. And while, as you can see, when like we reload, this images appear because they're like loading. So we can add the state that displays loading images. So constant loading, use state. By default, this is false. And then in here, set loading false, and then we can start set loading to true. Oh, one more thing. So if we have loading gallery. Now we can enhance uploading the image experience itself. So if we upload an image, as you can see, the file name itself is not getting displayed. That's because when we wrapped it into the model, the color of the file is white, so you can see the text. Going to app.css, so in pop-up content, we can have this, but for input, and set color to black. Let's see if it shows up now. Here it is. Another thing we can do is when user presses save and file actually gets uploaded to the Firebase, display a message that says your file or image has been uploaded. That would be in file upload.jsx. So let's create a new state, constant uploaded, set uploaded. By default, this would be false. And once we get the download URL, means that it was successful. We can also remove this extra console log and set upload ed uploaded to true. And in case here we are uploading a new file, we can set upload to false because new file would have its new progress. So false, basically like resetting it. And inside pop-up, we can have uploaded if it is true. And image was uploaded successfully. And we can wrap this, actually not span. I can give this a class name success message. And for the success message inside the pop-up, we can give it color. So this color would be green. Green. And maybe we can select a little bit lighter green. Okay, that's good. So let's try this, pick a file, save it, and we get the message. We also need to set the uploaded to false when somebody closes the model, so that can be done. So it will be dependent on this open set open, so we can use the fact. And as a dependency, I'm going to pass open. If not open, then set uploaded to false. So right now we still get the message, but if we save this code change and open the model again, it should be gone. For this deployment, first we copy the domain name that you have claimed. We go to package.json. There's one thing that we need to add in here, which would be the home page. And in here we paste the domain, and then we also include HTTPS. Once you have that, go to terminal, run npm run build. This will generate like production ready build. And once that is ready, you can Vite, since we ran this using Vite, in create React app, it's called build folder. In Vite, it would be dist folder. So we compress that, and we will need to upload this on the hostinger. The hosting section, we have Premier Shared Hosting. We click manage, and then we'll upload our file using this like file manager. So once that's loaded, the files have to go inside public HTML. I'm gonna move this zip in here. But then we select this and do unarchive. So for the destination, we want public folder. The folder name, we can just say dist. So now we can delete the zip and move the contents of this to the public. Deployment, navigating back to the dashboard, we click here, and here's our application running on our domain. Thank you so much for watching. If you like and enjoyed this video, or if it was helpful in any way, please can subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. And also don't forget to use my code WebDecoded to sign up for Hostinger, get a 10% off, and the link for it would be in the description and also in the comments. Thank you.